Hey everyone, it's Andrew Nagel of Alk9 Designs. This weekend I wasn't really sure on what component to show you or what tutorial to do, and so I decided to do a talking point on something that I had kind of been struggling, and I'm sure that, we all as artists struggle with every once in a while, and that's coming up with new designs. We all get stuck sometimes. Sometimes, we feel uninspired, unmotivated, or, just the repetition of doing the daily tasks. For myself, it's polishing is one of the ones that really kind of destroys the creative process for me just because it's so monotonous and time consuming. So I definitely deal with this, feeling of like, just getting stuck or just not feeling really inspired with my designs. And so I just wanted to talk on a few of my thoughts and points on what I do to help myself feel re-inspired and to get back in the creative flow. And one of the first things that I try to do is mix things up. So I'm talking about like new colors, try and do like I find that I get stuck in a color scheme every once in a while. And so then I've just got to either try different gemstones or a different color scheme or something like that to just get my inspiration up again. New shapes, and not just in new shapes of pieces, but also in new shapes of stones as well. If you're working with smaller stones, maybe try something larger, or vice versa. If you're working with squares, maybe try a circle or a rectangle or something like that. Or just new stones in general. For myself, when I get new crystals or new faceted pieces or something like that to work with, then that really re-inspires myself to create and to get working on a new design, and that usually helps me get into the creative flow again. And then another thing is new styles and techniques, maybe try some different patterns or different ways of building your piece that you haven't done before, so that way, you're kind of mixing up your process a little bit. And so if you're not sure where to start, one of the things that I do to help myself start designing a piece is I lay my stones out if I've already picked a center stone and I'm like designing around that. I'll lay the center stone out, maybe start drawing, add some accents in, or maybe I've already decided on the accents that I want to work with, or it's like a custom piece or something. I'll lay all of the stones out on the paper, just trace like, what's going to be the first stone or kind of the focal point, and then work around that, or just lay it out on the piece or on the paper. That seems to really help me figure out where I want to start my lines and where I want to start setting the stones. Choose a shape, for the design. Maybe just say you've been working with a lot of like rectangular designs or something like that, and so you just want to mix it up and do like an oval or a circle, and so start your design based on a shape. Another thing is choose a color palette, or maybe like choose a metal to work with. Maybe the metal works with the color palette, like you're doing like oxidized silver with like reds and purples, or maybe you're doing like gold with purple and blue, or copper with gold and or copper with blue and purple. That's kind of a good color scheme too. I've always liked that color scheme. Copper pieces can always be really beautiful as well. And another thing another artist said is just because it's made with inexpensive, quote unquote, materials, being copper, doesn't mean that it necessarily is going to be a cheap piece. So even if you're still working with copper, make sure you're pricing accordingly for your time and stuff like that. But another thing to try and get your inspiration going again is to mix your styles up. Try incorporating like maybe wire with sheet metal, maybe add some tubes in there, some new setting styles. Try some new, maybe do like a bezel set cabochon in the middle of a wire piece or something, like build a frame off of your sheet metal that has the bezel on that. There's all sorts of different ways that you can build a piece, and so don't just limit yourself to wire. For myself, I'm kind of the mind state like, learn every single skill and technique that you can, and then use little parts of all those things to make the pieces that you truly want to make. And I feel like that's where inspiration and creativity comes from, is collaboration of ideas and techniques. And so maybe that'll give you a new idea on how to build a piece. And if you're not feeling motivated at your bench, get outside, get away from the bench for a little bit. That's always healthy too, is to put the craft down for a little bit and to take some time away, spend time with family, consume your favorite medium, read books. If you like video games, play some video games. I found a lot of inspiration in Elden Ring, and I've poured way too much time into that game over the past month. Maybe watch your favorite movie, or, get out and exercise. Those are all things that really help you get the well, help at least myself get the inspirational juices flowing and all of that. Find things that inspire you and fill your space with those things. Images, quotes, stuff like that. Anything that makes your space feel comfortable and makes you feel more, inspired. I have various, random crystals and just random art pieces in my office that I enjoy, and so those are all things that keep me inspired and keep me motivated. And also look at other works out there. Don't copy them, but find, the inspiration in those pieces and find ways to mix that inspiration in with your own personal flair. So that way you can, find, maybe a new way to weave things or a new way to bring a piece together. And that's kind of my idea with this channel, is to just give you guys inspiration to build your own sort of style. If you're building the exact same thing that I am, or you're building the exact same thing that any other artist is, you're not going to stand out amongst those artists. And to stand out amongst them, you've just got to create your own unique style, and that'll just come with time and practice and mixing different things together to create your own unique style and what makes you stand out as an artist. And last, create what you enjoy. Don't ever create what you think is going to sell. That is always a good mind state to have. Keeping things affordable is something I try to do, and I try to create pieces in all different ranges. But I also want to create things that are either elaborate in like a gemstone cut, or, in the way that the piece is built, or just the shape of it, or whatnot. And when you start using more materials, even more silver can just become more costly if you're doing casted pieces and whatnot. You'd be amazed. A casted piece can use much more silver than just like a wire piece, and it really doesn't seem like it because it might be much smaller, but because it's so much thicker or solid, it uses way more silver, and so the price can go up in that realm as well. So don't create what you think will sell. Just try to get to a point where you can create what you want to create. And I know that might sound kind of ironic as someone who's been doing this as a self-employed artist. Not saying that it's, I'm not like driving a Maserati is kind of the go-to saying that I say to everyone. I still have a car payment and all those things and whatnot. I'm just a regular person. I just pour so many hours into doing this that it eventually grew to this point where I got the opportunity, and I'm so blessed every single day to wake up and do what I do every single day, or do what I love every single day for a living. But it's still hard work to maintain that, and it's not easy in any sense. And so I do feel uninspired and unmotivated. And so these are all different things that I do to help myself stay in that creative process. I even still battle with that, creating from a point of trying to get my work to just sell, and also creating from a point of just pure inspiration. And I flowed through that, especially throughout this last year. Especially throughout the last couple of months, I kind of felt the need to just like build inventory and stuff like that. And, and now my case is full, but that doesn't necessarily mean that a lot of them have moved, and that's great to always have a lot of inventory. But when your authenticity shows in your creations, that's what's going to find those pieces homes so much faster. Anytime that I've just made a piece that I truly felt inspired to create, that I was like all in on, it finds a home incredibly quick, like no matter what the price was. And that's what I've learned as an artist, is just that authenticity shines through your creations, and that's what you should be creating from, not so much just not from a creation point of like what's going to get this piece to fly out the door, because that's just going to create it kind of rushed and stuff like that. And nothing rushed is ever worthwhile is another thing I always say. So try and just be slow in your inspirations, and if you're not feeling motivated, get away from the bench for a while and try all of those other things I've mentioned and stuff, and hopefully you can get back into the flow of things. It's something that I've been finding myself getting back into the flow of, and just creating again to create, and that's been a really nice place to be at. So I hope this was all helpful. Sorry that it was all just kind of rambly and stuff like that. I had wrote out a bunch of notes and stuff, but kind of figuring out the way I want to display all this information to you all is always kind of a clusterfuck in my mind. And so I'm still finding the best way to present these like talking point videos to you all. I hope you've enjoyed this one. Again, let me know in the comments anything you've been struggling with in your designs, and let me know any like component or tutorial videos that you might want to see in the future. So thank you all so much. I hope you had a great weekend and enjoy yourself. Maybe get outside and enjoy some fresh air this week, and yeah, have a great day.